Guy who totally didn't drop his October art challenge video 2 months late. He's actually right, because I dropped it 3 months late. Trust no one, not even yourself. So, if you're an artist online, or just been on social media long enough, you've probably noticed October is the time of year in which artists will gear up and tackle many different art challenges and prompts. And I think it's great. Kind of like Art Fight, you just have this specific period of time in which artists of all kinds come out and spend a month sharing and creating such varieties of work, to the point it's really inspiring. So inspiring that I don't end up doing any art or even taking part in the challenges. Just coast off the others. Yeah guys, we did it! We finished another Promptober year! Woo! Woo! Out of all my time being an artist and posting online, I've successfully done a total of 1 Inktober challenge. Being 8 years ago in the olden days of 2017. And it was Splatoon themed because I was still deep in the Splatoon 2 trenches. So now I get the joy of explaining old OCs who perhaps don't need to be resurfaced for a millennia to anyone that scrolls far enough on my Instagram. But that was back when I was a teenager and would work on it during my breaks in school. And I'm not a teenager anymore. I have more time than ever, in fact. So why haven't I ever attempted another one again? I don't know. Commitment? Maybe a tight schedule? You're asking a lot of questions and we just met. I don't know you! But I think like others, it's something I always wish to try again and put myself out there like other artists who just express themselves. And there's so many different options to choose from as prompts. So maybe one year I'll finally work up that courage to do it again and I'll make it a big grab. I'm impromptu decided to do this at the very last moment. Yeah, so I had no plans at all making this video or even taking part in a Promptober. I had just finally finished a bunch of projects that have been keeping me booked and busy since summer, as well as taking the big leap to finally leave my old job and open my horizons to more options. So October was planned as my hibernate and play Pokemon Legends ZA non-stop month. However, it was on October 1st itself when another fellow YouTuber, LemonAide, shared that they would be taking part in a Promptober, specifically OC-tober 2025. Created by the artist Be Weird, who has been creating and hosting these since 2020, as well as some other art events like Arch. Anyway, long story short, I thought the prompt sounded cute, and being a little stuck with my art and planning to experiment anyway, I thought, why not? Let's take part. It gives me a chance to post to my socials more, share lore about my OCs, and give me a video idea since the other big project I'm currently working on is sorta kicking my butt.
Hey, you talking to me?
You know what? Yeah, no, I am talking to you.
What, you got a problem with me or something?
Actually, yeah, I do have a problem with you. Why are you so long and complicated?
Don't you call me long and complicated. Only my mother gets to call me long and complicated.
So this video is just going to be documenting my process with the Promptober, as well as some insight on the processes for all the art pieces I post in October. However, before we begin, I have to give a big shout out to Aurora Alpenrose on Instagram, who managed to predict I was making this video on day 3. I gotta be honest with you, you had me sweating there, girl. I thought for sure I was done for just as I had started this project. You get a gold star. Highlight of my day. Thank you for always supporting me. But without further ado, and a bloated intro, let's get to drawing some OCs. Day 1. A new OC. Okay, so as I said, I found out about this challenge on day 1, which means it was posted a day late, despite it being a main post day, so... oops. I also didn't really have much time to think or plan on this, which is something I usually love to do with characters and stories. And just like a caveman forming his first thought, I have an idea! I thought, why not try drawing something I wouldn't usually, combined with something I love drawing? So meet Nana, an alien fashionista who travels the galaxy to see what new trends and styles she can find. Where did the name Nana come from? I needed something simple, and what's a popular series with great fashion? Nana. Why does she like fashion? Because I like drawing different outfits, so this will excuse inconsistency. What's her story? We're gonna have to figure that out eventually, but not on this day, so how about we stop talking for a little while? When I tell you, Pinterest was carrying me through this journey, I just tried combining multiple wacky and whimsical pieces to form this big, vibrant outfit that feel a little otherworldly, and I think it works. I might be heavily pushing the word fashion here, as there is a lot of clashing and maximalism going on, but that's the joy of it. And maybe she's just giving Betty Suarez here, and she worked out Mode magazine, the pioneers of fashion in New York City. Sorry, I've been referencing Ugly Betty a lot. It's just like my go-to end-of-year rewatch show, so it's currently on my mind a lot. Fun fact, I was basing the alien design off the little big-headed green guys, so I didn't want to just leave her bald, even though I probably could have just said she wore wigs.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
So I tried giving her this cute and choppy hairstyle in a peachy blonde, just to contrast her skin tone. She also has these cute little antennas because, I don't know, that seemed alien-like, and I'm kind of creatively bankrupt here. And of course, when it came to making a background, I had to hit the signature random pattern and character enlarged and overlaid in the back. Overall, not a bad first attempt for something I thought of on the fly. And while I was really on the fence with Nana, even planning to redesign her by day 27, I ended up really coming around and loving her. So who knows, maybe we'll be seeing more of her one day. Day 2, an old OC. If they wanted an old OC, then I was gonna give them an old OC alright. So, blowing the dust and cobwebs of one of my oldest OCs, meet my Splatoon OC, Robin. She dates back all the way to the Splatoon 1 days, where I got a used Wii U in this game for my birthday, over 10 years ago. Back in the days of one hairstyle that was gender locked, and I thought the boy inklings looked kind of ugly, I mostly played as a girl. I would say this is where Robin was first made, however, that would be a lie, because Robin actually originates from a Splatoon RP blog that I ran up until 2017, nearing 18. This girl has been through so many different eras, AUs, half of which can be summarized as, oh boy, I sure do love being an inkling living on my own in Inkopolis and doing Splatoons. Robin, the war, the trauma. Oh, okay, I guess it's event time again. Yay! She was originally meant to be this shy and awkward girl with a stutter who recently moved to Inkopolis and was hiding a dark secret. Also, she had brown ink because for some reason she was so stressed she couldn't actually change her ink color pigmentation, so she was just stuck with a dull and muddy brown. Something I think that's actually quite an interesting character quirk, but not here. Anyway, the twist was she had run away from her abusive rich family and horrible academy school to go and live a normal life on her own under a new name and with a new haircut. That was it. Like, I guess there was some plan for her to eventually overcome her trauma and take a stand against her family from a domineering father, alcoholic mother, and finally beating her older brother in a one-on-one fight. But like, I never really wrote it fully and just kept it as an idea to myself, and before I knew it, I eventually just realized I preferred her story ending much more simple and happier. Robin doesn't need a big confrontation moment and dramatic set piece. She's free. She has friends, a home, a job, and can dress and present however she wants. And seeing her go from this shy, nervous kid to an outgoing, optimistic adult? What was that?
Okay, James.
And seeing her go from this shy, nervous kid to an outgoing, optimistic adult? That always makes me smile, and feels a lot sweeter and more complete to me. I also realized how much of myself I projected onto Robin, kind of using her and my other Splat OCs to explore questions in my life, from sexuality and gender, which is how I came to realize how much of Robin's story really resonated with her reading as trans. A child mentally abused and forced to be something she's not, cuts off her hair, changes her name, slowly but surely begins to present more femininely and look happier. Not to mention, her eventual ink colors were blue and pink with the white tentacle bit. Coincidence? I think not. But hey, that's just a game theory.
Thanks for watching!
Being over 10 years old, she's gone through a lot of changes and redesigns, and I love looking back as it really shows my art journey through the years just drawing this one character. However, for this design, I'm basing off my last redesign of her, representing her Splatoon 3 appearance, where Robin's just back to being a 14-15-year-old kid. The final piece isn't anything special or exciting, but I think just remembering some of my oldest characters and stories made this prompt a lot more special to me, and really brought my art journey full circle. Wherever Robin goes next, I'm sure it will be a great adventure, and until then, catch you next time, Space Squid. Day 3, Favorite OC. So of course, I had to pick Starry, a classic OC and my go-to for customization games. I featured her on my channel before, specifically in my Roblox video, where I drew her in 3 different outfits and in 3 different styles, and it kinda flopped, so I see that we don't vibe with Roblox here. Which I also understand why we don't, so maybe it's for the better. I wanted to highlight her many designs and changing nature by having multiple versions of her, and have it be like cyan, magenta, yellow coded, because combined they all make her true self. But I messed it up and they're red, yellow, and blue instead. I mean, it still looks cool in the final result, but like, imagine if I had designed the piece around 3 different colors of the same picture that came together to make the full image. That would have looked sick, right? Anyway, the final result was cute, and I'm happy with them. I'm just starting out after all, I can get more experimental later. Day 4, Sona/self-insert. Of course, I had to pick myself, Alpine, for this day. So this idea was something I've been planning for a while actually, but never got around to doing so. Back for the Nintendo GameCube, there was a device called the e-reader that you connected to your Game Boy Advance to scan specific cards that would let you unlock certain features like items, levels, or even some NES games. With Animal Crossing for the GameCube, there already was GBA connectivity features with Animal Island. This also meant it was the perfect game to add e-reader features onto, which led to the production of Animal Crossing e-reader cards, kind of like the first versions of Amiibo cards if you think about it. Anyways, I always loved how these cards looked, especially for the different villager designs. From the drawn over models to the poppy shapes and colours, I wanted to try recreating one, which is what I'm doing here. I think I did a really good job copying the original style. I mean, as good of a job as trying your best to copy the original can get you. And where I usually tend to put my Persona artwork through a relief filter to give you that fake 3D look, here I just thought maybe it'd be better to keep it simpler and use some pencil textures, as I think they more wanted the 3D models to look 2D instead. Overall, I really love how this turned out. Although my one gripe is that I did this before I had finished my new updated look, so unfortunately this is already an outdated Alpine we will not be seeing much of. But either way, I still think he looks great, and I mean, I can always just, boop. Don't ask where the other one went, we'll never see him again. Day 5, Underappreciated OC. Similar to Day 2, for this prompt, I wanted to dig deep, so meet Andrea. She's an old OC from my university days, and the protagonist of my failed horror short film pitch, Scream Stream. Andrea is a desperate-to-be streamer, who, in her pursuit of her dreams and money, ends up accepting and playing a cursed game sent to her P.O. box. From there, the film would play out as a mock stream, with Andrea's streaming perspective animated in the corner in 2D, while playing this fake haunted PS1 looking game that slowly begins to reveal its true colours and a greater within. I can say with full confidence, I am so glad this did not get chosen as a film. While I think pitching it was a lot of fun, and the concept of watching a fake animated stream that jumps around different scenarios, almost like a haunted VOD, sounds like a lot of fun, but I was really just winging it and coasting off the popularity of PSX horror at the time, from projects like Petscop or artists like Plasterbu. In the long run, there was not much of a strong direction, and it probably all would have fell apart very easily, especially trying to animate 2 different short films in 2 different mediums that overlap one another. That and I didn't even have an ending planned. I was not lying when I said I was winging all of this. Despite this, Scream Stream still has a soft spot in my heart for the potential of what it could have been, or even still be. That and I just always adored Andrea's design so much. I think I nailed the sort of 2020s e-girl fake fashion, and the devil horn silhouette in her hairline. I love that detail, even though I don't think it went down well with others. Despite that, I thought to modernize her a little bit, give her more of a personalized style and look as opposed to something so artificial. So, keeping the split dye, she's now sporting some long pigtails and a fringe, a sharp choker, off-the-shoulder striped sweater with some flared short shorts, black tights, and some simple red boots. Overall, a little more punk and hopefully a lot more interesting to look at. I do think I messed up the colours a bit though, as I know there's a whole black and blue filter effect going on with the whole piece, but it ended up making Andrea's skin tone grayer, which I think blends in with the reds too much. So past this, I make sure to always give her warm and saturated colours instead. Just a simple piece with a pose that seemed cooler in my head. But at this point, the prompts have mostly been me introducing my characters so far. So for the other days, I'll have to start stepping up my game and experimenting. Day 6, Relationships. Nana's back again, and since we've already got her design down, I thought it was time to explore some of her character. As mentioned, Nana's a bit of a fashion influencer, and while she appears very perfect and poised on her main, it's on her private side account that you get to see her true nature. Someone who's easily frustrated and overworked, constantly strapped for cash since she can never say no to a purchase, love life not working out, but at least she has a bestie in the whole galaxy she can vent every minor inconvenience to. Lola! Fun fact, Lola was meant to be more of a moth-coated cryptid alien, however I seem to have channeled Abby Bominal, because that's just a Yeti with the same colour scheme. However, she does make for a great counter to Nana, being way more slow-paced and chilled, wearing cooler colours, and also being 6'5", which is great for totally not making Nana feel even smaller than she actually is. For the piece, I wanted to try and do a fun composition with the phone lines separating their call and a bunch of little bubbles featuring Nana's problems. Something that sounded cool on paper, but then you realise neither of them are using a landline phone. So whose phone cable is this? That, and it's also one of the pieces I cheated on a little, sketching it on paper to help give me a guideline and speed things up. However, I only end up using sketches for a few days before I actually realised I enjoyed drawing on the fly more, as some of my favourite ideas for days came from things I changed my mind on or thought of in the morning. I don't know, I think I had a very different image in my head to what I ended up creating, but I'm not upset with the final result. I love the colours, and it felt nice drawing Nana interacting with someone, or getting to try out different expressions other than my usual character standing and voguing. Day 7. Home. Back to Andrea. For this prompt, I wanted to lean into a video game aspect, tying into her hobby and job as a streamer, showing off her room and the desk that she streams from as if it was some sort of isometric hangout game like Habbo Hotel or Club Penguin. I had a lot of ideas for this one, initially planning to actually make it a GIF/looping video with a moving background effect like Earthbound, and more furniture and game UI with of course some horror elements stuck in there. But realistically, I did not have the time to be spending that much on one piece when I have a whole month left to draw. And the whole point of this Promptober is to not overwork and instead push myself to experiment in multiple ways, not just one. So, holding myself back, I stripped the piece to its bare essentials and felt really nostalgic, basically referencing my old concept art for a room and haunted game. Both things I was combining into one this time. Who knows, maybe Andrea was already in a haunted game without even realizing it. Although, this is now just sounding like a Sims creepypasta, and all of those can be summed up as, "The Sims feel real pain," or "The Sim was evil and killing people." Man, I kinda miss old crappy pastas. They were funny. I don't remember the Kill Waker. I thought that was real and genuinely terrified Toon Link was gonna kill me. Just a fun fact about me, I guess. Anyway, back on track. Despite being half of what it's intended to be, I really like this piece. I love the different highlighting colors around everything, the creepy typewriter font like she just walked into a new area, and after 5 years, Mr. Longfingers is still just chilling in her closet. Day 8. Personality. So, this is a great start of one of my cheat days, because I wasn't really sure who to put here, since I've kind of already shown off little aspects of my character's personalities up to this point. So I used Starry again, whose personality, as we know, is extremely malleable to whatever AU or world you need. So here, she's just giving her usual cheery and peppy self. For this piece, I wanted to try focusing on hand and eye details, as they're the two body parts I tend to draw the same on most characters, usually a thin or slender hand with that circular or half circle eye shape. Same face? Nuh-uh. Same eyes? Yup. I don't really know what inspired me to style the face the way I did, but I do love the extra detailing in the eye, and especially her eyeshadow, which feels a lot more cartoonish and really helps draw the viewer's attention better. I'm also really proud of her arm and hand. Like, you can tell I was looking at and studying that reference image hard, but I think this is actually one of my best hands drawn to date. Also, don't ask what the vision or goal with the visual was here. Like usual, I was just winging things, which is how we ended up with a sort of Fruitico vector bloom aesthetic going on. Overall, very flashy, very shiny, but a very cute Starry, so I think that makes the whole piece worth it. Day 9. Inventory. Hey! Back at it again with another cheat day, and honestly, I had no clue whatsoever to do here. I was struggling badly on this day, and eventually I just had to push myself to create something. So being the little cheat that I am, I just reused my YouTube assets from the inventory UI, icons, and even used a thinking pose. I don't know what else I could have done here. Maybe Andrea's inventory or purse laid out kind of like a survival horror menu situation. That would have gone hard.
Fuck, it's genius. Why didn't I think of that?
Can I redo? Can I redo the day, please? Please? Overall, a very lukewarm picture that elicits a very lukewarm response. You know every challenge is going to have its low moments, so I'm thankful to have it at least this early on, and definitely helps make all the other pieces feel way better, because none of them will ever stoop to this level. Day 10. Symbolism/themes. A swift return to Andrea, and I mean, it made the most sense the horror story would have the most symbolism to it, so obviously I had to choose her. I think this was around the point I began to ignore some of my concepts and sketches I had made, and just create things more on the fly, as my initial idea was a lot more gory and grim, having her pigtails be entrails that looped around her body back to her stomach as she was hitting a religious pose in a wheat field. Something that probably wouldn't have gone well on YouTube, but I don't know, the idea just wasn't vibing with me anymore, and it felt a little tacky and edgy, and what I'd rather do is actually use the symbolism to highlight my favourite aspect of her design, her fringe's devil horn silhouette. So instead I drew a more close-up and detailed picture of Andrea, as if she was looking at her reflection in a mirror, tired and uneasy, clearly beginning to feel the effects of the game wear at her, which is then contrasted by an alternate version, bright, red and fleshy, a single piercing eye, as Andrea is possessed by the demon from the game who finally found a new host. All we can hope is that Andrea has one more trick up her sleeve to get the demon out before it's too late. I love how the final piece looks, and I think it's at this point I really started to come around to just having fun with these prompts. No longer thinking about what would look cool to others or great on my social media, but instead just creating things I liked and was proud of to show. That and Instagram's song feature was really elevating all of this. I love some of the songs I picked out for my pieces, and I think they helped push the themes and vibes way more. Day 11, skills. And back to Nana. And my goal for this piece was to highlight one of her key skills and how she manages to get around the galaxy. Her ability to drive. That's right, my girl passed her test, and like any other fashionable diva, she rides around in a cute little moped all across space. For the piece itself, I wanted something lineless and pop arty. Don't necessarily know why, but I just thought it would pull the focus more onto the moped. And the whole solar system in the back was actually inspired by a specific anime ED. It wasn't a very good anime, and I don't really want to admit to watching it, so you guys can try and figure it out in the comments. First person I see get it right gets the pin of glory. I have no other way to naturally segue this in, but Pink Pantheress' stateside remix with Zara Larsson had just dropped, and I was religiously listening to this on repeat while drawing the whole piece. So every time I look back, I can hear Zara's first, and it makes me love it way more. And I think the final piece turned out great. It's just fun, bright, and cute, and I love that. It made for a really nice break after the last piece being so grim. Day 12, weakness. And we have a Nana post back to back. You can start seeing where I clearly begin to love drawing her with the way she's been popping up more and more. And this is another piece that's a great example of me changing my mind from the sketch for the better. The initial concept was just going to be a more simple and blunt joke about Nana having her card declined at checkout, which worked, but it felt too safe. So I thought to restart and go full camp with it. And I mean, it's the spooky month of October, so why don't I turn Nanosphere into a classic old horror movie? I wasn't referencing anything in particular, kind of more just doing a generalized old horror movie poster with a very pop art graphic style for Nana, giving a horrified expression, and a very classic horror font for the title, with the added little blurb for some extra fun. I miss horror movies adding cheesy one-liners onto their posters. They're silly. Overall, not a lot to say because I think the piece speaks for itself and looks great. Maybe I could have gone a little more in on the texturing and wearing the paper out some more, but I thought there was already a lot of visual noise going on with the halftone dots and the textures, so I think it's just perfect the way it is. Day 13, Scary Animal. This week was the beginning of the Choose Your Own Adventure prompts, where you had to pick a theme and a story prompt, along with a color palette to work with. And this week was definitely one I went back and forth on, doing better some days and doing worse on others. For this piece, I went with Scary Animal, and decided to bring back some old OCs from a cancelled comic idea I had, and I just never followed up on. The concept was a horror news strip comic called Catboy and Dog Girl, where the beginning of the story would be akin to Garfield, with 3-panel comics depicting silly scenarios or unfunny jokes, before the story begins to start ripping itself from its own status quo, changing the perspective and genre as you follow the two siblings trapped inside a house with only a void to look out to. The character featured here would be Catboy, or rather his true name, Callum, brandishing a metal pipe from a point in the story in which he had to fight to save his sister Dog Girl, or rather Dodie, from him. And that's all I'll say for now, as this is a story I'd still love to finish one day. I got pretty far writing the full story and sketching out some of the early strips, but I just ended up putting it on the back burner when I started making YouTube videos, since these end up taking a lot more time and energy. So who knows, maybe one day it'll come full circle, and I'll focus on making a YouTube video about it, finally giving it the time it needs to be finished. The piece itself is alright. I had a stronger, more grungy image in my head for the final result, but it's fine. I like the silhouette look, which is a strong part of the original's imagery. Not that many of you would know since I've not exactly posted about it. But I think I could have gone harder with the visuals. But you know, at least I tried, and it's nice to catch up with an old project and sort of rekindle a spark for ideas. Day 14, Romantic Heroes. For today's combinations, I chose Romantic Hero, changing it to Heroes to try and bring in my Magical Girl OCs, or in this case, Magical Boys of the group. I'm not going to go too much into detail on them, as I'm planning a video redesigning and talking about them, but all you need to know is that the magical elements and aesthetics are thematically tied to plays, with these two playing the roles of the prince and the knight, with the prince representing blue, kind of like being blue-blooded, and the knight yellow, kind of like the sun and warmth. I know that I said I couldn't go low again, but I hate this piece more than any other thing I drew. Like, I'm just not vibing with it. Maybe it's because I drew the prince too femininely? Maybe it's the older designs? Maybe it's because I hate the yellow filter that sort of reads like an AI piss filter to me? Who knows, but I just don't like this piece, and it feels like the weakest one to me, which sucks. Especially because some of the concepts I sketched at the beginning were a whole lot stronger. but then I had to go and doubt myself, so here we are. Oh well, we live and we learn. You know, I took the risk, I put myself out there, so at least I can say I tried. But let's not try this again, I suppose. Day 15, Dramatic Villain. Continuing off the Magical Girl story, I thought who better to show off the dramatics other than the villain of the story, the Queen. Someone who takes great pleasure in the story and watching her cast fight through various plays and progress the acts. But who exactly is she? And for what reason is she fighting the cast? Who knows? She's someone who plays her role to a T and almost enjoys exaggerating all her lines for the spotlight. And pain means nothing when she's already willing to push past so much just to win. She represents the color pink, meaning passion and romance, the two things she clings to when playing this role. I think the overall piece could have been executed a little better. The angle and effects are fun, but I don't think it immediately reads as someone receiving an applause from a crowd, or trying to grab attention, more just like a woman creepily smiling. At least the colors are nice though, definitely something I wouldn't have experimented on my own. Day 16, Serene Angel. More for our Magical Girl OCs, we have who I consider our primary main character, playing the role of the Angel, presented as a ballerina. This one was always going to go well, since I really love her old design a lot, and the limited color palette just clicked for me, placing more emphasis on the gold and blue accents to help pop the design, although it could also just be the colors being similar to her original that makes me like it so much. She represents the color black and white, being the only one in the cast based on shades. But then again, black and white do complement other colors very well, so perhaps her strength lies in support? I kept up the stage motifs like the first piece, however with a little more flair this time, as I wanted her to read like a wind-up music box, with her being the posed little ballerina figure on top that would turn with the music. Way more symbolic and thematic than just having two people kind of holding each other, standing there, kind of like a clingy couple in line. Definitely my favourite one of the Choose Your Own Adventure week so far, but we've still got 3 left, so there's still time to turn things around. Day 17, Silly Magic. And we're at our final character of the cast, and who's definitely the most magical of them all, it's the role of the Witch. She represents the colour green for health and growth, mostly because I think she changed the most in the cast, going from not wanting to be a magical girl to absolutely loving it and doing her best. This one's actually a redesign because unlike the others, I just don't like her old designs anymore, so she gets to be the exception and get a fun new look. And fun it is! I love the uses of mints and lime more than the stark deep green. She's such a whimsical little witch now. Posing wise, I did kinda barf on this. She's just awkwardly standing there showing off a tarot card and holding her broom forward instead of to the side for Mac's posing silhouette. I don't know, it was getting late and I just wanted to finish the pick for today. We're like over halfway through the month, give me a break here. Overall, a cute and warm pick, and I think a nice way to end off this little mini arc on my magical girls, and draw an end to this play. Day 18, Tragic Monsters. While we're mostly done with the Choose Your Own Adventure week, we're still not entirely finished yet. So for the last 2 days, I had to think of something, so we're back with another deep cut lore moment, with this piece being based on a very odd project in my life. I don't really know how to go about explaining this one, but these OCs are from a long-term project that I just refer to as Monster Schoolgirls, because they're schoolgirls who are monsters, and Monster High was already taken. It's a thing that's just made up of a collection of different ideas and experiments that I have, and kind of used as a testing ground for my concepts, whether it be character design, lore writing, shot compositions. It's something that has a lot of key moments, but no thorough line through most of it. Even the writing was only done from the perspective of only one character, something I thought was a little bad of me as I couldn't fill in the blank areas, but then I realized actually is kind of a cool premise, since it means you're only really getting her input and side of things. It's such a mash of ideas that the characters don't even have names. I always just refer to them as their hair colors, something that's going to be a fun problem to solve, as I actually quite like the color-coded names now, even though it makes writing text and memorable moments harder. The plot follows our main character, Green, on the left, who's a witch that recently transferred to this private school, which, just like the paranormal world they live in, is full of different kinds of creatures and monsters. She comes to meet Orange, a popular fish girl who's the class guardian for any cult attacks, Pink, a mixed vampire and Florian, who's the classroom's first aide, and Teal, a slime girl, who's not a part of a hive mind and just wants to go to school like any other girl. And the girls try their best to finish school amidst rising cult attacks, brewing mysteries, and the forewarned end of days. I really love how this piece turned out. It's very graphically striking, to the point I kind of felt nervous putting the name over them in the background like that. But it feels nice getting to share such a project that's mostly been kept between me, a friend, and various documents. Day 19, Adventurous Alien. That's right, Nana Cosmo's back again. No way I wasn't going to draw my alien for the alien prompts. And what's more adventurous than trying a style she didn't think she could pull off? I love this piece. I thought it was so campy, very much fashion makeup ad. The color palette being super vibrant and saturated, drawing attention to all the key parts. I'm sorry, I don't really know what else to say. This is another Nana W. That's my girl. That's my daughter. She's winning. She's winning life. She's winning space. I'm so proud of her. And with the added texture too and the rainbow effect name, yep, that's my girl. Which is incredibly funny because this is the last time we'll be seeing her in this video, but I think it was a great send-off. Till next time, see ya, Space Fashionista. Day 20, Community Week. Coming into Community Week, I was kind of scared of what to do, as other than gift art, you could also do collabs, roleplays, leave nice comments, and just support other artists and their stuff. But I didn't really know how to put that into the video, so gift art all week it is. Kicking us off, I thought to get back at the person who got me into this Promptober adventure, LemonAide. I chose to draw their OC, Mabel, a character from their story Divinity, who sure does have a lot going on, but not enough that she can't slay. And slay she does. Your Honor, she's innocent, I swear. She totally didn't do all that murder. On God, I swear. You can learn more about Divinity's story in the video Lemon made on it, as well as some more insight into the cast and Mabel's character over on Lemon's Unvale. For this piece, I was really inspired by Lemon's Seakiss magazine cover, and decided I wanted to channel some Y2K realness too, almost like a Barbie My Scene print. So, keeping Mabel in that iconic fur coat and crop top combo, I tried going for a fun perspective look, to lead into those forced angles a lot of 2000s photo shoots used to love doing, and make sure she was really selling the whole look with her own hell-branded flip phone, because I don't know how else they'd be communicating down there. I think that's the one downside of this being gift art, is that I had to take some creative liberties, because if I were to start asking questions, it kind of spoiled the surprise. So things like how long her coat, or whether she was wearing a skirt or trousers, kind of just had to be guessed. I mean, I hope the long coat and bell bottoms are alright. I mean, they fit, right? My favourite part has to be making the background. All the chunky flowers, half-tone dots, and Mabel's name slicing through the whole thing. This is what pulled it all together and really sold the Y2K look. Overall, a really great start to the week, and one I'm really proud of. I hope Lemon liked it, and once again, go check out their stuff. Day 21, Community Week. Our second gift of the week is for none other than my lovely partner, Cogoico. Other than being an amazing boyfriend, he also helps me out with my channel a lot, being my thumbnail artist for all my videos, and occasionally helping me put together some of the graphic designs and layouts. Key ones you'll probably recognize being the Winx and Monster High videos. Anyway, you should totally go follow him and look at all his amazing art. And did I mention he does commissions? Wink wink, nudge nudge. No, but seriously, be sure to check out his work and give him some support. He's just as important to this channel as me. For this piece, I chose to adapt his two bounty hunter OCs, where they're trying to grab a meal in a saloon before realizing they're not exactly welcome around here, as the bounty hunters have become the bounty hunted. A little corny, and maybe hard to read without context, but I still had fun making it. His designs always have such fun shapeology and motifs to them, so adapting them to my style was a lot simpler than expected. Overall, maybe it's a bit of a cluttered piece, but I like it nonetheless, and once again, be sure to check out his stuff. Day 22, Community Week. Our third gift art of the week is for none other than EggRoyale. They're a VTuber I met over on Blue Sky, always streaming, drawing, and being super lovely. He makes time to interact with his community in so many ways, and is always engaging with my art posts, drawing fan art for not only my Ever After High video, but also some characters for this specific Promptober challenge. They work crazy fast and super productively, being able to stream and do commissions on the side? Like, I need that level of energy too. You got the Duracell bunny batteries or something? So, for their piece, it made the most sense to adapt their VTuber, Egg. It's incredibly detailed and intricate design, to the point I kind of felt like I waffled it a bit. I was testing out a different brush that was a lot thicker to what I'm used to, and I think that it really threw me off drawing some of the smaller details. Well, that and I was trying to do like an anime character introduction splash screen, but the pose I put Egg in felt too simple. I should have pushed it more like I did in the back. So, I'm sorry about that, Egg, but I still hope you like the finished piece. I really loved how the colors turned out. although I'm biased to yellows and oranges, as we know. But I think they complemented really well with the white accents. I do wish I could have snuck in some more egg motifs, but I was worried about falling into an overcrowding trap, so I kept it simple and readable. Either way, I still think it turned out cute, and I hope you like it. And once again, be sure to check out their stuff. Day 23, Community Week. For our fourth gift art of the week, we're going back to drawing one of my IRL besties, this time from my friend Jananabread. She's a talented writer, and these characters are from one of her original stories, that being Porn, the smaller butch, and Clem, the taller femme. I love them dearly like they're my godchildren. They're just the sillies who I'll draw from time to time for fun, because it always makes for a cute surprise, just like what I was planning with this piece. I was really inspired by this Japanese poster for the movie Kingpin, deciding to lean into that 70s colourful fashion vibe with a slight campy twist, keeping that movie poster premise, but, you know, having the text be a bit more ominous and horror, and Porn having a target over their head, as well as a mandatory spooky bloody edit. Ooh. I don't know what else I can say here. I think this piece turned out amazing. I kinda just formed a strong image in my head for something I've never truly tried before, and just went for it. And I couldn't be happier. Who knew drawing characters in different eras of fashions other than modern could be so fun? Overall, no notes. I love this, and I hope you love it too. Day 24, Community Week. For our fifth gift art, I had to give it to one of my biggest Instagram supporters, and always there with a comment, Balfine. Like, seriously, they engage and comment on nearly all of my posts in October, and they even drew fan art of Nana in her first look all the way back on day 17. So there was no way I wasn't gonna get my revenge. Get back here, stupid bitch! So I tried drawing their OC Caspian. I don't really want to say much on who Caspian is and his story, because I actually think you should go check out the LemonAide board dedicated to him that details all you need to know in such a beautiful manner. Like really, it is a gorgeous mood board, all of you have to see it. But the key details you need to know is Caspian is being possessed by the spirit of the coyote, who's trying to steal his body and create the perfect vessel. And the artwork representing this is some of the most beautiful pieces I've seen in ages. I love a good textured brush and colors, but I can't use them too much or else I get fat. But they're so good. For this piece, I wanted to try making something very symbolic, sketchy, and artistic. Mostly because I misinterpreted the term fables as like fairy tale fables and thought it was a cursed storybook situation, which it's not. So oops. But with the piece itself, I think I sort of dropped the ball here. Maybe I got a little too artistic because it's extremely sketchy. But also having this big sort of empty space by Caspian with this orange color that I didn't really add anything to. The image just seemed a lot cooler in my head, and I know I'm kind of being harsh on myself, but I feel bad making something intended as a gift that I feel like I could have put so much more into than what the final result shows. Ultimately, I'm working under a time limit, so I can't be getting stuck or spending too much time on one thing, but this is definitely something I want to revisit, so Balfine, if you're watching this, I'm sorry and you better have eyes in the back of your head, because I'll get you again one day. I mean it. You never know when. It'll happen. One of these days. And once again, be sure to check out their socials and work. Day 25, Community Week. For the sixth gift this week, we're back to IRL friends, specifically my oomfie, Adriabun, particularly their Pokemon Yume OC, Saint, who he ships with Jacques from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Saint is a 22-year-old photographer with an attitude who's obsessed with Jacques since he brightens his whole world, and we love a diva with goals. Like, relax bro, he's yours, ain't no one gonna take him from you. Being inspired by another artistic Japanese poster I found on Pinterest, I adapted Saint as this stark graphic piece, highlighting patterns and negative space, as well as a fun twist of words, changing the phrase look at me from something kind of direct to a lot more symbolic and adoring, as Saint only wants Jacques to have eyes for him, and only him. I really loved how this piece turned out. The final result is super simple, yet so eye-catching. It's around this point I really started coming out of my shell and enjoying making art. And if I had stuck to my guns and played it safe, sketching and concepting everything, I don't think I would have had as much fun or creativity here. And like always, be sure to go check out their stuff. Day 26, Community Week. The final gift art of the week is for my bestie BubbleHunter, specifically of their Sata D&D character, Lyra. She's just a girl who enjoys the simple pleasures in life, sex, drinking, and partying. Can't a girl just have some fun? Well, no actually, because her whole identity might be a lie and a part of some arch-phase experiment testing on mortals who just implanted her name and memories into Lyra, if that's even her real name anymore. Fun! For this piece, I was once again heavily inspired, specifically by the Easy Tempo album cover with its striking use of negative space and bright colors. But of course, I didn't want to just do a one-to-one recreation of it. What's the fun in that? So I tried applying more textures and patterns to draw the eye, as well as utilizing some more text related to Lyra to act as a kind of mini profile for her. But I think a special highlight has to go to the rendering on the goat legs. The original album had this deep gradient shadow look on the woman's legs, something I was a little worried about attempting with furry goat legs. However, I think they look great and don't distract from the rest of the image at all. I adore how this whole thing turned out. Like, all of this is so stylish to me, and with that texture, ooh, it's crisp. This is peak right here, and I hope you like it. Day 27, redesign. So coming off of a couple of days of drawing that I was super proud of, I had to keep the ball rolling with this one. As mentioned at the start, I had initially planned for this day to be a redesign with Nana, but by now I had changed my mind on that, and was back to square one on who to choose. I'd already redesigned my older OCs like Andrea and Robin, and other ones like my magical girls were already getting redesigns behind the scenes. However, I'd completely forgot about a specific character who had still yet to get redesigned, let alone a solid design, Andrea's girlfriend Zoe.
That's right.
Andrea has a partner, who's also in the influencer game, specifically vlogging and casual chat streaming, compared to Andrea's gaming-only streams. She was designed to act as a counter to Andrea as a whole, where she was more alternative e-girl, Zoe was pastel Sanrio kawaii. Where she might have cat headphones, Zoe had bunny ear headphones. Where Andrea gets passionate and heated in games, Zoe's always upbeat and a little out of it. Just complete opposites who found each other. And just like Andrea, I thought Zoe's original style was a little generic and not very interesting. So I chose to update her to something a little more trendy and relevant, specifically a Y2K sporty fit, something you'd see in a Dance Dance game. I also wanted to try and give her two-toned hair like Andrea, but done in a different direction. So instead of a perfect split dye, it's more of a reversed gradient. Although I totally should have given her some roots showing, just to really sell the dyed hair look. But then again, maybe she goes to the LD Shadow Lady school of constantly getting your hair done pink, to the point that that's just your natural hair color now. I also did tweak Andrea's outfit a little, turning her shorts into more of a flared skirt thingy, and her boots into legwarmer leather boots. Although, I might change these into real legwarmers later down the line. Who knows? I guess we'll see. Style-wise, I adapted them a little more chibi-like, to resemble that of a dress-up game like Girls Go Games, or more like Pinky Street, those amazing Japanese fashion dolls. Just something to lean into that game aspect to the story and contrast the whole scary vibe. Sometimes the girls can just have fun. Overall, I really love how this piece turned out, and Zoe's a great addition to the lineup. Only took 5 years, but she finally has a fully finished design, and not just an abandoned sketch. Day 28, Inspirations. Of course, when it comes to my preferred cozy game, and the style for this channel, I'm really inspired by the Animal Crossing series, as well as just a lot of Nintendo in general. By this point of working on the video, I'd already started to begin updating my persona, assets, and general aesthetic, and that clearly influenced this piece a bit. Other than featuring Alpine's new outfit with his little ascot, I also wanted to create something extremely bright and vibrant, almost like a new introduction to the channel, and to really contrast how a lot of my older stuff feels so desaturated and dull for some reason. I think this is a really good example of reusing assets in a better way, as technically a lot of this piece is made up of different parts from other pictures. From my intro to my vacation announcement, I took different parts I liked and tried to either improve on them or just make them more colourful, and I think it all turned out fantastic. Like, not everything has to always be replaced or be made better. Sometimes it just needs a little update or a new splash of colour, and it can change the whole thing. I'm super happy with the final result. This is Alpine's Sword to me, and how I always imagined it, and it's great to finally be able to recreate it how I wanted. Plus, no one seemed to have caught on to the design update and changes that were incoming, so win for me. Day 29, Swap. For this prompt, I decided to get very experimental with it, and see how I can push the wording, as I pictured swap more like someone swapping outfits, and so that's how I decided to make either a GIF or a looping reel of Nana swapping between 3 Y2K inspired looks based off a certain Barbie movie, but I'll let you guys figure that one out for yourselves. Not that it's very hard, to be fair. That's right, Nana's back. Did you really think it'd be the last time you'd see her? 10 days later and she's making her triumphant return in the exact same video she debuted in, so nothing has been gained or lost. I'm not too sure what I could really comment on with this speed paint, as it's just me putting outfits together, as the rest of the day was done off screen, considering I had to edit it all together with music and sound effects, but I still hope it looks cool to see the process of things. And for the final result, I really love it. It's simple, cute, and Nana looks stunning in all of her different looks and styles. My favorite look definitely has to be the academic preppy one, but I'd love to hear who you guys preferred. Day 30. Meme. Okay, at this point, I was starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but also I still had one last obstacle left to overcome, and having friends around at the time, it meant I was pretty busy for most of the day, you know, socializing and all that. And being that I was already doing so much research on my art style challenge video, I took the easy way out here. Nana Family Guy time. I recreated her in the Family Guy Yourself browser game on the Wayback Machine, and then tweaked the image in Clip Studio Paint to fit within the "holy crap Lois, it's" scene. I don't know, I think memes are funnier when there's something made fast and with a silly heart, so this is funny to me, but also probably just strange and out of touch to others. I just like the Family Guy memes. Hey, I cook the pasta. I make the American Dad. It a me, Seth Rogen. That's not the guy that made the... Wait. It a me, Seth MacFarlane. That's my evil Wario counter. Seth Rogen. Oh, what am I doing? The final day, day 31. Halloween costume. For the big finale, it was the one I was most excited for. Halloween costume. I know that it was probably more intended for your OCs to be wearing Halloween costumes, but I took it as adapting my Halloween costume. And I wanted an excuse to draw the protagonist from one of my favorite horror games ever, Heather Mason from Silent Hill 3. I went as her on Halloween for a small party I had with friends, except I adapted her outfit a little differently to fit stuff that I was more comfortable and interested with. Things such as shorts instead of a skirt, and leg warmers instead of those knee-high boots. Also, I was planning on not frying my hair with bleach and a layered haircut like our diva, so brown bob it is, I suppose. Not that it matters because you guys aren't exactly seeing my face here. Apple Anno mode deployed. This piece kind of ended up being like a second attempt of an older Heather piece I drew, but I still love both of them equally. And what's better than one Heather Mason? Two Heathers! So yeah, I love it, and I think it made for a great piece to end on. 31 days later, and after a lot of experimenting and talking through my thoughts, we finally made it through, and I had a blast. Got a blast! What seemed so scary at first really mellowed out after the first week, and after a while I found myself enjoying posting art for fun, and engaging with people in my comments talking about different brushes I used, or lore behind a specific piece. It made me remember that that's the point of this. Art in these different Promptobers are meant to be fun. It's a time where artists come together and share and support one another, to show what thing they like in art, or even challenge themselves to step outside of the box and practice something they wouldn't usually, kind of like what I was trying. I think this month definitely helped me experiment in ways I wouldn't have before, and rekindle my love for some personal projects again. Like, it's all fun redesigning and writing other franchises, but sometimes nothing can beat the things you create on your own, and I know I'll be taking part in another Promptober next year, or maybe even trying the Arch. But if you're interested in trying one, all I can really say is go for it, and give it the best you've got. There's no specific advice I can give, considering that it's all personal to you. It doesn't matter your type of art, level of skill, or even if you only do a day or two. The fact that you tried is good enough, and I just hope you manage to have fun. Once again, I wanted to give a big thank you to Be Weird for their Promptober and inspiring this video. You can find links to their site and socials down below. With that, I hope you had a good day and a fun time watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time. See ya!